Assalamualaikum everyone. Today's topic will be 3 level of abstraction or 3 schema architecture. Okay, let's see the words individually first. What is a schema? What do we mean by schema? And what is the meaning of abstraction? Okay, before we head into the actual topic, let's see these two words. Schema. Schema means nothing but a structure. Okay, schema is structure. Okay, or I can say, to elaborate this, I can say the overall design of a database. Okay, here we are studying about database, right? The storing of a database, how we are going to store the database and all that, right? How we are going to store the data in the database. That's what we are studying here, right? So schema will help you to model your data. It will help you to design your data, to plan your data, how you are going to store it. Okay, the structure. Okay. Example, see, suppose if you are going to construct a building, or if you are going to construct a house, what are you going to do? You are going to make a plan first, right? That's nothing but the schema. Schema is like a blueprint. Schema tells you the structure. Schema defines the structure. It is an overall design. What data that you are going to store, what are the entities, what are the relationship among the data. Okay, that's nothing but the schema. Simply, schema means structure, design. Next, abstraction. Abstraction means what? Abstract or abstraction means hiding the irrelevant information from the user. Okay? The information that is not related with the user is not concerned about that data or about that information. We are going to hide that. Okay? So that's nothing but abstraction. For example, I'll say you want to repair your bike. Okay? So what are you only concerned with? Suppose if your bike is repaired, and what are you going to ask the person? What was the problem? Okay, did you fix it or not? Is my bike working properly or not? Right? That's the only thing you're going to ask. You're not bothered about which tools did he use, where did he place all those tools. You're not bothered about it, right? That's what. You're going to hide the irrelevant information from the user and only going to show the relevant information here. Okay? The information that is concerned about. Clear? Clear about clear about schema and architecture? So this is nothing but this 3 schema architecture or 3 level of abstraction. Why am I saying abstraction, or why 3 level of abstraction? Why 3 level of abstraction means we have got 3 different levels. The user will be present here. Okay? The user will be here and the data stored is here. Okay? The database is here, the user is here. So we have got 3 levels which is separating the user from the data. Okay? And one more thing, schema, I told you, at each level will be having a different structure. This level will have a different structure. This level will have a different schema. This level will have a different structure, different schema. Okay, getting? I think I'm clear with this. Okay, so let's begin. The first and the highest level is what? The external schema. Okay, we also call it as a view. See, as the database is a huge collection of data, is a massive collection of data, and the users will not always require the complete data, right? The user will not always require the complete data. He'll just need a portion of the data, right? So what the responsibility of the database? What is the responsibility of the database? To show the portion of the data that the user has requested for. Okay? The only information that I requested for should be shown to me. The rest should be hidden. Okay? I'm not concerned about it. So yeah, see, as I wrote here, view A, that's nothing but the view. View A, view B, view C. See, views means what? Different users will have different view to the data. Okay? Let's take an example. Let's understand with an example. Let's take an example of a university. In a university, we have got students, we have got faculty, we have got HODs, we have got deans, we have got principals. So each one of this will have a different view to the database. There is the same database, but each person will have a different view, right? Each category will be having a different view. The students, they are only allowed to see the data, their marks or the courses that have been offered. They are not bothered about what is the salary of so and so teacher, or how much sick leaves have they applied for. The student is not concerned about it. So database is not going to show him those details. Getting my point? Clear? Okay, every person will have a different view. I'll write it here. Suppose this is a student view. This is a faculty view. This is the principal, suppose. So student will have a different view to the database. Faculty will have a different view to the database. Similarly, the principal, the highest authority, will have a different view to the database. Getting my point? Am I clear? Okay. So different users will have different view to the database. So what is the job of the external schema here? The job of the external schema is to provide the user with the information that the user has asked for. Okay. The only piece of data that the user has asked for, the database responsibility is to show only that portion of the data. Clear? Now next, we can take one more example here. This views, we can take one more example. Instead of student, faculty and principal, we can say customers, employees, managers, the CEO. We can have many different views, many different users, right? Getting? Customer will have a different view at the database. If we are talking about a company, the customers will have a different view at the data, view of the data, right? He's not bothered about how many employees are working, what are the salaries of the employees, how many employees, have taken a sick leave, or how many are present, all those. He is not bothered about it. Similarly, if we talk about the CEO, he's the head of the company, right? So he'll be knowing the details about all the managers, all the employees who are working or not working, what are the statistics, everything about the company, everything about his employees. He'll know everything about it. He'll be having a different view to the database. Clear? Very simple, right? Only schema and abstraction, these two things. There's one more thing, I'll say that later on. Okay, so this is nothing but the external schema. Next comes the conceptual schema or the logical view. Conceptual schema or conceptual view or logical level, तीनों भी हम इसको बुला सकते हैं. So see, this is the next higher level. We can see this in the diagram. This is the next highest level in the data abstraction. And if you see here, this conceptual schema is the one that is connecting the external level and the internal level. This conceptual schema is connected with the external level to display the output, to display the result. Okay? To display the results of the queries of the data. Okay? This conceptual level is connected with the external to display the user request. And also it is connected to the internal level to store the data. Okay? Clear? So next, one more point about the conceptual data is that, see, conceptual schema or conceptual data or logical level means what? Everything is logical here. There is no, the storage is not physical here. We are not physically storing. We are just having a concept, logical structure. This means what? The entities, the relationships, the constraints, everything will be decided at this point. Okay? Here you will be shown only a piece of data. Here the complete data will be present. Okay? Here a piece of data and here the complete data will be present. And this is the job of the database administrators. Database administrator to design this logical level, matlab which data should be kept into the database. Okay? It is the job of the DBA, the database administrator, to decide which data should be stored in the database, okay? Which should be discarded, or what constraints should be applied, what are the relationships among them. And also here, as I'm saying, we are going to design, as I said previously, here we'll be designing the database, matlab how we are going to store the data. We have got different forms for storing the data. We have got relational models. Matlab here we'll be using different models to store the data. Okay? Data can be stored in any format, right? Data can be stored in the form of tables, relation. It can be stored in the form of objects. It can be stored in the form of entity. It can be stored in the form of hierarchy. It can be stored in the form of network. Anyways, so that this in which form it should be stored, that is decided where? At the conceptual level. Okay? And it is decided by whom? Database administrators. Data को कैसे store करना है? Storing is not done here. Okay? I'm repeating, storing is not done here. The storing will be in the database only, the disk. The data will be stored in the disk. But what we are doing, at this level, we are deciding how the data should be stored, or what data should be stored, what are the constraints and all. Okay? It's like a blueprint. Okay? And the next is the physical schema, where we work on the blueprint, where we start working on the blueprint. Once we got the blueprint, what we do? Blueprint of a house. We start constructing that house, isn't it? That's what, same thing. The physical level is the lowest level, as we can see in the diagram. It is the lowest level of abstraction, data abstraction. And what happens here? Here the data is here the schema, the structure will be decided for what? Where the data should be stored, how the data should be stored, the description of the data, all these things. Data is being stored in the disk, and we saw this in the previous videos. Types of databases. There we saw centralized data and distributed data. If you remember, centralized data means the data will be stored at one place, but distributed data means the data will be stored at many different ways. That decision is taken where? Here. Same thing. This is the job of who? Database administrators. This is the job of database administrators, to decide how the data should be stored. What do we call? What is the description of the data? All these things will be done at the physical schema or the internal level. Okay? Clear? Here we'll be using the physical data models. Here we are using these models, right? I told you in the conceptual level we are using these models. In this level we are going to use the physical data models. Physical data models are nothing but frame memory model, unifying model. These are the physical models that we are going to use in physical level or physical schema or internal level. Clear? Easy. The actual data is stored here. The user is present here. So we are going to abstract the user. We are going to separate the user from the data. Okay? Next point. We'll talk about data independence. The whole aim of dividing this data into three parts is nothing but data abstraction, data independence. What is data independence? Data independence means it is the ability to change the schema at one level of a database. This is a database and these are the schemas, right? So the ability to change one schema without affecting the other schemas. Okay? Clear? I'll just write it down. Okay. So data independence is further classified into two types. One is physical data independence, the other is logical data independence. Physical data independence means what? If you are changing the physical schema, it should not affect the conceptual or the external schema. Okay? Similarly, if I am changing the logical schema, the logical data independence means if I am changing the logical schema, if I am making changes to the logical schema, it should not be affected to its external schema. So it is very simple. All we are studying in this three schema architecture is that we are going to separate the user from the database at three different levels, and each level has got its own schema. External will have its own schema, and here we'll be using different data models to model this. As I'm saying that we are going to structure it. Schema matlab structure. We are going to design it. So this external schema will be designed using different data models defined in a different way. The conceptual schema or the logical level will be defined and using different data models in a different way. Next is the physical schema or the internal level. Here we'll be having some different models to structure. Schema is nothing but structure, I told you, right? So different data models will be used to structure structure this level, internal level, to make a design at this internal level. Okay, clear? So that's it about this topic. I hope it is clear. It is not very complicated. It is easy. Okay. So I hope this is clear. If you have got any doubts, let me know in the comment section. I'll inshallah try to explain it again. Okay. Or the specific part that is not clear, I'll try to explain it. Thank you.